starting off in our number 10 spot, we have Cherubim. When we think of cherub, we normally think of like a Cupid type character, like a sweet little baby angel flying around, you know, nice stuff. Turns out, however, that is not at all what these babies are described as being. In Ezekiel 1:5-11, it says, "As I looked, behold, a stormy wind came out of the north, and a great cloud with brightness around it, and fire flashing forth continually, and in the midst of the fire, as it were, gleaming metal. And from the midst of it came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had a human likeness, but each had 4 faces, and each of them had 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet were like the soles of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like burnished bronze. Under their wings on their 4 sides they had human hands, and the 4 had their faces and their wings thus. Their wings touched one another. Each of them went straight forward without turning as they went. As for the likeness of their faces, each had a human face. The 4 had the face of a lion on the right side, the 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, and the 4 had the face of an eagle. Such were their faces." I'm not sure where we got this flying baby idea from, but honestly it seems to be a lot better than whatever those creatures would look like. In our number 9 spot today we have Gabriel. So in many of the texts, angels are like the messengers of God, but they also have their own powers and abilities that they can use as they see fit. In one particular story, Archangel Gabriel is sent to announce the birth of John the Baptist to Zechariah. But when Gabriel does this, he gets a less than enthusiastic response from Zechariah. In fact, this response was one of protest, and Gabriel simply did not like that. He said, "I am Gabriel, I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news. But now, because you did not believe my words, you will become mute, unable to speak until the day these things occur." I guess the lesson here is to listen to an angel if it appears to you and tells you that you're gonna have a kid? I'm not sure. At the end of the day, it's a bit of a dark way to deliver the good news. In our number 8 spot today we have the Ophanim. So these creatures, just in general, are very strange. I mean, they're actually the wheels that are seen in Ezekiel's vision of the chariot, so they're like creatures, but also wheels. One of the Dead Sea Scrolls classifies these guys as angels, but there's a section in the Book of Enoch where they're classified as celestial beings who never sleep and instead guard the throne. So while these creatures aren't necessarily terrifying in their actions, they're definitely creepy as heck in their appearance. They are called the many-eyed ones for a reason. It is said that these wheels have 4 faces and way too many eyes. Imagine having to ride in the chariot. Like, that's so terrifying and absolutely uncomfortable. No thank you. In our number 7 spot today we have Raphael. Raphael is one of the true archangels and is the 4th of the oldest of the 5. He is a powerful healer, a guardian angel, and a great fighter, so you might be wondering why he landed a spot on today's list. Well, there's just one story in particular that I really wanted to talk about, and that story comes from the Book of Enoch. Raphael is in a battle with the demon Azazel. Raphael is able to defeat the demon, but decides to subject him to a fate worse than death. The story writes, quote, "Bind Azazel hand and foot and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert which is in Duadel, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire." If that wasn't clear enough, Raphael tied this demon up, buried him alive in a hole full of rocks in the middle of the desert, where he just now gets to wait until he can be thrown into a fire and burned alive. In our number 6 spot today we have the Angel of Death. Within the Hebrew Bible there are many stories where the Lord sent his angel of death to wipe out any enemies of the Israelites. I mean, one of these stories is the one that is behind what we now know as Passover, and while that is the most famous example, there is apparently a larger one that took place. In 701 BC, it is said that this angel was able to save Jerusalem from an invasion by Sennacherib's army, but it was not without the loss of life, of course. If unfamiliar, Sennacherib, whose name means sin has replaced the brothers, was the king of the Neo-Assyrian Empire from 705 BC until 681 BC. In the end, it is said that in order to save Jerusalem from the invasion, the Angel of Death was responsible for wiping out 185,000 men completely in just one night. In our number 5 spot today we have Abizthabu. This fallen angel is described in the Testament of Solomon, which I know is not really regarded in the canon of the scripture, but I had to include him. He is said to be one of the angels that followed Beelzebub Beelzebub upon his fall from heaven. He is the sin of pride and is known for his ability to lead people astray. He is most easily summoned in the month of July during the 5th hour of the night, so careful. After his fall from grace, he was left with only one red wing and was condemned to hell. He is said to have control over the imprisoned souls of Tartarus and plays a primary role in the demon world. He himself claims that he was once an angel in what is referred to as the first heaven, and after his fall he began to roam Egypt. During his time in Egypt, he met with Moses and the Israelites during the Exodus and opposed them. This is when he decided to harden the Pharaoh and his advisors' heart and convince them to pursue those who were fleeing. He went with the Egyptian army in pursuit of the Israelites, but the collapsing Red Sea crushed and drowned him, which left him imprisoned in a pillar of water. Despite being trapped, Beelzebub says that he will return for conquest. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Seraphim. These creatures are ones that appear in the book of Isaiah, and their name translates to burning ones. That's bad enough, but when you find out that they are flying serpents, things get even weirder and more unbelievable. These creatures, despite their terrifying appearance, are the highest ranking celestial being in the hierarchy of angels, so the good news is there are creatures on this list who are doing worse things, but the way these guys look, it's really just not what we think of when we think of angels. These flying, burning snakes don't just have one set of wings and instead have 6 wings sprouting from their backs. Only one set of wings is used to fly, while the others are for covering their faces and feet. They are said to just fly around telling God how great he is, while using their other wings to hide their faces and their feet because they feel as though they are unworthy of looking at God and they don't want him to see any of their imperfections. In our number 3 spot today, we have Uriel. There are stories and texts that say that fallen angels were mating with humans and creating this sort of race of giants. Personally, I think that sounds kind of cool, but according to the text, people did not like that at all, and that includes the archangel Uriel. He was not the only one who was against this, but he was only one of the 4 who spoke up about it and asked for some sort of divine intervention. Also, it's not like he felt anyone was innocent in this mix. Humans were looked on as being just as guilty as the angels, and ignorance was not an excuse. This is all what led to the great flood of the earth in order to rid the world of giants and quote-unquote cleanse the earth. The text says, "Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits assuming many different forms are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. And the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens." In our number 2 spot today, we have Belial. Belial is one of the crowned princes of hell, but he is also known as hell's brightest fire, evil's match, the king of evil, and he is the personification of wickedness in the Jewish faith. He is mighty and powerful, and this is likely due to the fact that he was created right after Lucifer, which is of course part of the reason why Belial belongs to his order. Belial was once an angel, but after his fall from grace he became a demon of lies and guilt, and he possesses the ability to induce any type of sin, but his favorite of the sins is lust. Belial is so evil that it's said he started a civil war in hell. While still an angel just before his fall in the War of Heaven, Belial slayed numerous angels, and as a demon, just in general, he would slay huge demonic armies that attempted to make any moves against him or any of the other 7 great kings. In our number 1 spot today, we have Lucifer. Lucifer was an angel before he fell from grace. In the book of Isaiah it says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?" Lucifer is now the ruler of hell, and he commands an entire army of sinners and demons, and he even tried to organize an uprising against God. So, I think it's pretty clear exactly why he is a terrifying entity. He also uses his power to send terrible people to Earth in order to terrorize everyone, as well as to try and tempt non-sinners into the dark side. It is said that Lucifer also might just be the one who is responsible for the original sins that were seen in the Garden of Eden. Some believe that he is the snake who placed the temptation there. Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have Furfur. Furfur is a fallen angel turned demon who is the 34th of the 72 spirits of Solomon. He is the Earl of Hell and has 26 legions of demons who listen to his every command. If one is summoning him, they must do so within the magician's triangle, or else he will not speak, and if he does, none of it will be truthful. He appears as a deer with a fiery tail unless in the triangle, where he will appear as an angel, but he speaks with a rough and hoarse voice. Furfur has the ability to raise thunder, lightning, and powerful winds, and he also apparently causes love between a man and a woman, which doesn't seem all that bad, but everything I read about him references it in a negative way. When he is trapped within the triangle, he will tell secrets of divine things. In our number 4 spot today, we have Asbiel. Asbiel had to be included on this list today if for any reason, because his name literally means God-forsaken or God-deserter. Asbiel is the angel of ruin and one of the fallen angels from the Grigori. After leaving the angelic post and straying from the angelic duties, Asbiel dedicated his life to leading humanity astray. Asbiel completely abandoned God and his grace and wishes nothing from him. Asbiel believes that God is basically just another common celestial who has hoarded all of the power at the expense of the rest of creation. During and after his fall, Asbiel questioned why God wouldn't just completely remove any evil and malice in the hearts of his creations, and this led to him believing that God was a tyrant who only cared about worship and praise.
Coming in at number 3, we have Samael. First off, Samael's name literally means the venom of God, the poison of God, or blindness of God. Pretty intense for an angel, right? Well, he's not just any angel. No, he's an archangel of death. He killed people under God's orders. So basically, when God tells him to go kill someone, he will show up and confront them with his sword drawn. The tip of the sword contains a drop of poison, so when he jabs the person, it will not only cause a nasty wound, but will contaminate their blood with poison and they will die a slow, painful death. Now, in Hebrew lore, he is the prince of demons and is the executioner of death sentences handed out by God. He is also called the seducer. Why? Well, he is known to seduce people into acts of evil. He seduces them so that they will sin, and then God's like, oh, we got another one, go kill them. Like, that's really dark.
In our number 2 spot today, we have Azrael. Azrael appears in many religions in our world and is often referenced as being the angel of death. His job is to watch over those who are dying and separate the soul from the body, and he receives the spirit of the dead. Rather than being death personified, he is more thought of as being a servant to the will of God. He is, however, referred to as the embodiment of evil. Not that he himself is evil, but just the embodiment of it. He is said to have 4 faces and 4,000 wings, and his whole body is covered in eyes and tongues, which directly correlates to how many people there are on Earth. Like, imagine being visited by an angel that looks like that, and then knowing that seeing him probably means you're about to die. Just not a good situation in general. It is said that Azrael will be the last to die, and he is constantly recording and erasing the names of men at birth and death. I thought my job sometimes got a little dark, but I'll take this one over that one any day.
And in our number 1 spot today, we have the Watchers. First off, why would they give angels such an intense name like the Watchers? Like, it sounds creepy already. Anyways, basically the Watchers came down to Earth to watch over the humans. But while down here they got distracted and fell in love with women. They ended up procreating among them, but this was a disaster. Their offspring were these savage giants who pillaged the earth and put humanity at risk. Like, literally, they started killing and eating people. Not only that, it's said that the Watchers were the ones that taught humans about weapons and violence. So yeah, these angels had one job and managed to screw it all up.
Starting us off at number 10 is Zadkiel, a real archangel of freedom and mercy, but the one we're talking about today is part of the Marvel universe. Back in the earlier comics, Zadkiel used to be God's personal warrior that was extremely good at killing anything and everything. In terms of power, he possesses superhuman strength, speed, durability, he can heal quickly, he's immortal, he can fly, he can capture astral bodies, and he can manipulate you with magic. He could not give less of a shit about humanity, and during Lucifer's rebellion in heaven, he and his black host sided with the dark side. Zadkiel then snaked Lucifer, so this guy's evil truly runs deep. Like, how does man's snake Lucifer? I don't get it. As punishment for betraying God, Zadkiel was put in command of Heaven's Black Ops team, and after doing a bunch of work, he was done with it and launched his own attack against Heaven. He started recruiting humans, so after they died, their souls would automatically join his army. Zadkiel thought he could do a better job at ruling than God, and he actually won Heaven and ruled for a while. So this dude is not to be messed with under any circumstances. At number 8 we have Samael. In the Book of Enoch, this fallen angel is known as the leader of a band of other fallen angels called the Watchers. This group became possessed with their lust for human women and continued to consummate despite it being a sin. Samael created 2 half-human, half-giant sons and continued to corrupt his fellow angels into seducing women. His encouragement led to the offspring of these women being giants, and together with the angels they murdered, dominated, and exploited inferior races of men. And I mean, when you have angels and giants in one army, you know you're gonna lose. You may as well just give up. Surrender, it's over for you. Filling our number 7 slot are the angels of the 10th realm. Part of the Thor Marvel universe, these angels live in a place called Heaven, not actually spelled heaven, previously known as the unknown 10th realm. This realm was locked away by Odin because these angels were a right menace. They're vindictive and they're pro-killing babies. Loki actually helps Thor open up a portal to heaven so they can meet the angels. However, a battle ensues where Thor loses and Loki sides with the angels. In all the 10 realms, angels are their greatest warriors to the point no army is a match for them. They're extremely selfish and materialistic and think a concept like honor is just plain useless. Coming in at number 5 is Amenadiel. I like him personally just because he's from the DC universe and I prefer DC over Marvel. And I know everyone's just gonna be bashing their keyboards right now trying to tell me how Marvel is so much better and intricate. Believe me, I work with Chain Amanda, they're both Marvel over DC diehards. Either way, Amenadiel is a vengeful angel that spends his life getting back at Lucifer, who is now on Earth. After leaving his post as King of Hell, Lucifer went to Earth and started running a piano lounge, which did not set well with Amenadiel, who never forgave him for betraying him and God. However, Lucifer's a genius and Amenadiel is definitely, more brawn than he has brains. Any move against Lucifer is thwarted quite easily, which makes Amenadiel angrier and stupider. He literally invades LA with the Throne Army and kills a bunch of people all for his ego. Come on man, do better. At number 4 are the angels from Supernatural. I honestly did not think that show could last as long as it did, but I mean, kudos to them. 15 seasons, azam zaddy. Now the series follows 2 brothers who essentially hunt ghosts, demons, monsters, you name it, they hunt it. Supernatural also has a lot of angels in it, the good of which being few and far between. There's probably only like 2 angels that are relatively good on the show, Castiel and Gabriel, and even they are not saints. Gabriel literally forced Sam to watch Dean die 100 times in a pocket universe, and he's in the top tier of nice in the show. That's not nice. Most of the angels on the show have no issue killing humans. The first half of the show actually features most of the angels wanting Satan to escape from hell just so the apocalypse can happen, and that's not even because they want it, it's literally because they're bored. Other antics include Angel Zachariah removing Sam's lungs for a few minutes just to prove a point, Metatron killing a bunch of humans, and also turning angels into suicide. Hello, calm down. Now at number 2 is Zera. Now Zera is an angel in the Spawn comic book universe that is so powerful and feared that angels and demons alike don't want to get in her way. Zera is a creation that God abandoned and now keeps imprisoned due to her immense unpredictable power. She's one of the most powerful beings in the universe, but she is utterly insane. How can that much power not go to anybody's head? Come on, you're setting her up for failure. Now Zera's unending bloodlust is what makes her simultaneously a homicidal maniac and God's most lethal weapon. He lets her out when he needs someone killed or someone to do his dirty work, and since she's immortal, nothing's that deep for her. The bloodlust within her is actually so strong it manifests in this large white bestial humanoid that can breathe white celestial fire and follow Zera's every command. So not only is she dangerous herself, she also has this ethereal beast that kills people for her. And finally, at number 1 is the unnamed angel. In the 2001 psychological horror film Frailty, Dad Meeks, the father of Fenton and Adam, gets visited by an angel who tells him that God wants him to kill demons that are disguising themselves as humans. Meeks is already a religious fanatic, and this angelic visit throws him into overdrive as he waits for the angel to give him the names so he can start killing the people one by one. He takes his 2 kids with him on these murder missions and touches the victim right before killing them because it shows him the visions of what crimes that demon has committed. Now Adam believes his dad, but Fenton doesn't, so he tries stopping him, which fails. This angel tells the dad some horrible things about Fenton that leads him to locking him up in the cellar, hoping that will make him see God. After days of being starved, he lies and says he's ready to be part of the murders, and so upon securing the next victim, the dad gives him the axe, but Fenton kills his dad instead. Then, on instruction from the angel, Adam kills the victim and then buries them both. The movie gets darker after that with a lot of twists, but this one angel literally caused a serial killer to be born.